I recently started getting really into the world of mushrooms and fungi. And what really drew my attention to them and got me excited about mushrooms was just all of the different ranges and varieties that they grow in. I think there's a whole lot of information that's still not known about mushrooms. So having learned that there are so many different varieties of edible species in Ontario got me really excited to go out and hopefully forage and hunt down some of those really interesting species.
Oh, here we go, Philota. This is chestnut mushroom.
Ooh!
Yes.
And it was literally right there. We just had to take 2 steps and oh, wow.
Turn around, and there you are, right?
Oh my gosh, look at that. That is gorgeous. Whoa! Oh my God! Whoa! It's like a basketball. I think we'll need two people on this bad boy. Oh!
Let's go to the other side and get the other one.
Oh! There's one on the other side. Oh! Yes! Yes! Timber! Woo! Woo! Sounds dumb, baby. Oh my God. Hey, I'm Emma, and I'm the Urban Botanist.
I'm researching and discovering ways to live wilder. We interview experts who are passionate about the natural world and teach you how to engage with nature in an urban setting. So let's talk urban foraging.
Half of foraging is using all your senses. So sight, hearing, scent, sometimes taste.
Today we are exploring Amherst Island, which is home to a load of different varieties of indigenous edible plants and fungi.
Yeah, we'll go through in that corner so that...
Okay, let's get ready. We're off-roading.
I am so excited to be getting my hands dirty, going outside with our expert Ruthie. We will not only be learning how to forage and use our 5 senses for foraging for mushrooms and other local edible species, but we will also be learning how to actually use those foraged items in your everyday cooking.
Like this thistle here, Did you know that artichoke hearts are from a thistle family?
Really?
So, my name is Ruthie Cummings. I live on Amherst Island, and I am a local expert on mushrooms and wild edibles. Amherst Island is a small agricultural community, and it has its own microclimate. It basically is an influence of the water and the fact that it is close to the shoreline. It's basically a big rock with about 4 feet of soil on it, and a lot of trees, and a lot of deer, and a lot of cows, and a few sheep. So there you go. My mother was a German refugee. She was a teenager in the war. When she moved to Canada, there's still not a lot of money, so this was a way to supplement the dinner table with wild foods.
So this was something that was important for your mom to pass down generationally to you and your sisters. What do you think about that?
I love it, and see, that's one of the reasons why I want to teach, because it's something that has been completely lost in the last 100 years. I'd say more European cultures sort of hang on to that, but I feel a responsibility to teach other people.
I love that so much. I think that is the key to passing down a healthy planet, is generationally teaching our youth the importance of local varieties, of indigenous edible species.
Yes, absolutely. There's a few things about food sovereignty that I think are really important to touch on, and this is really my opinion, but a lot of how we feel about food and how we view wild food has changed over the last 100 years. My mother actually is a really big person in my life, and we talk a lot about stuff, and she's 90 right now, and we were talking about how the pandemic in 1920 changed people coming in and scooping an ingredient out into a bag and weighing it out to having it all prepackaged and pre-portioned. And that is basically how our grocery stores are set up right now. Now, in order to relay a lot of confidence in that, they were pretty much actually speaking to the people in a large volume about how safe it is. You never have to think about things. And it's true. You go into a grocery store and you don't really have to worry about what's on the shelf because it's already been vetted, it's already been inspected. With that sense of 100% comfort in the food that is offered in the grocery stores, they never saw the need or interest in what it was to wild forage food. Part and parcel with that, certain things started occurring, like the poison control didn't want people willy-nilly going out and picking any mushroom in the forest because 90% of them actually can make you ill. So as a blanket statement, they just said all wild mushrooms are poisonous. If you have the right education and the right guide, and there is an interest, so you self-educate, but you ask the right questions to the right people, you can actually start relearning these things at a slow pace. It might be a long learning curve, but the thing is, with each new item, 20 years from now, you can have 20 different species that you're really super comfortable eating and hunting in the wild with the right guidance from experts from like the Mycology Society and different guides like myself. I have a hope and a dream where we see more education and people are more active in contacting experts and different native plant species and mushroom species societies like the Mycology Society, so we can keep them safe. I feel very fortunate that I was taught this. And given the fact that this is the kind of knowledge that used to be passed down from generation to generation, having it and being able to pass it on is a privilege, but it's also a responsibility too. We need to regain that confidence and comfortable feeling about walking into a forest and be able to identify species that are edible correctly.
So what are some of the different parts of a habitat that you would be looking for mushrooms?
So with the mushrooms that grow on a tree, I'm looking for old hardwood, which is what we have here. But then things like lion's mane and enokitaki, they like to grow on dead and dying wood. So I'm looking in a direction where we might see more dead wood logs down. So over there would probably be a good start.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then we can do a big circle.
So usually looking for dead, fallen trees, but also your eye line can go up too. Is that right for mushrooms?
Right, that's the thing. Fall mushroom hunting is floor to ceiling.
This is my type of nature walk. I'm not trying to get the calories burned. I'm not trying to keep my heart rate up. I'm taking my time and observing and just taking and breathing in nature.
Absolutely.
I think that's so important, especially for our mental health, is forest bathing.
Yes.
And further to that, beyond that, is like, actually stopping and recognizing what is growing here and growing a deeper connection and understanding with nature.
Soaking it all in.
Okay, let's head that way.
Yes, that way.
That looks like a promising area.
I feel like meeting Ruthie has been so refreshing for me. She knows so much. She's already taught me how to actually edit the way and critique the way that I look at things. I feel that all of my senses have become a lot more in tune to the world around me after just spending a morning with her foraging in the forests.
Ooh, I see lion's mane.
Do you?
Yes.
Wait.
Wait, or is it?
Yes,
that is
you
definitely
do. Oh
it,
my
right?
God, it's huge. Oh baby, come to
Oh baby, no way.
Now we're gonna have to get someone to give us a boost.
I will boost you, don't worry. Oh my.
Oh, there we go. That's how it happens sometimes.
I caught it, don't worry.
Bear's tooth actually totally falls apart like this.
How amazing is that? The way it's growing almost like little
like
waterfalls.
Yeah, it's like it's the way I describe it is it's a cross between coral and lion's mane. So it has that coral branches,
Totally.
but it
looks
has
like
the lion's
coral.
mane toothiness. Now we got to figure out how we're gonna get the other.
Oh, I'm not worried. I'm ready.
In North America, we're looking at about 10,000 different species. Within those species, there's over 50,000 mushrooms. Of those, there is 10% of that is edible. There is a small fraction of those that are also medicinal. When you see the mushroom is the fruiting body of a huge network underneath the soil called mycelium. And what we see in the different seasons fruiting on tree or on the soil is basically the fruit from that mycelium. Now, the mycelium is an interesting thing because it has recently been discovered and studied as the telephone network between trees, mushrooms, and other plant species. So it's basically like the little can on one side and the mycelium going to the tree on the other side, and they're chatting with each other. And that network is basically all encompassing. It's under every single step that you take anywhere. It doesn't matter if it's an urbanized area to a completely non-people area up north, as well as underneath the water. It's basically a blanket underneath the soil all around the world.
Before you go to do this, what are you attempting to do? Is you're trying to remove the whole head that's growing off?
Yeah.
Or are you trying to purposely leave a little bit behind?
No, actually, I'm not trying to leave any behind because the tree already has mycelium running through it.
Okay.
It is a parasitic mushroom, 100% related to this tree and the tree life.
Okay, let's get this guy down. Ooh, oh, should I try to catch it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. That was me.
Fail.
See how it stayed
But
together?
that one stayed fully together.
Yeah, that's a beautiful lion's mane.
If you're gonna learn one mushroom a year, I think that this one is it's easy to identify.
Yeah, it's totally
It was easy to spot. I spot it from, 100 feet away, let's say.
Yeah.
And it has so many health properties associated with it.
Absolutely.
It's insanely good for your mind, your brain injuries.
Brain injuries, spinal cord injuries, excellent for sleeping. There's immune mobilizing, and all three in the Hericium family have the same effects.
Wow.
All right.
What a score. Oh my God. Okay, I could actually go home happy now.
Well, we're going to find more. That's just the beginning.
Some of the things that I learned today is just how many species of edible mushrooms there are. But also there are a lot of species of very toxic and poisonous mushrooms too, and really just how important it is when it comes to proper identification.
And how do you were mentioning spore printing earlier, and that's one of the key ways that you can identify a species correctly is through spore printing.
Yeah, so if you're unsure of a mushroom, just take one that is detached veil, if there is a veil, and you remove the stem. So I'm just gonna pull that out. And then you take the mushroom and you put it gills down or pores down, because there's several different ways. Some mushrooms, like these guys, they drop their spores, so you don't really actually quite see how they do it, but you can just put a piece on a piece of glass and covering it with a cake dome or a bowl. And then after 24 hours, you lift the bowl off or the dome off, and then you look underneath and there is a print in the shape of the cap or the mushroom itself. The mycologists have actually done the work for us in deciphering the spore print, color, shape of the actual spore under microscope. In every single field guide, there's always ones at the bottom of each mushroom, toxic lookalikes that you can compare to make sure that you are consuming something that is edible.
That is amazing. This is basically the thumbprint of a mushroom.
It is.
And it's all been documented, so you're able to, relatively easily identify.
Yeah. Be relentless. Always do your double checklist to make sure that the species that you're picking is the species that is edible. And if you're unsure then, definitely check it with an expert before you consume. And when in doubt, just throw it out.
Truly, I think that foraging is such an inclusive activity. It's something that people of all shapes and sizes, no matter what your age, can get out and do. Really, all you need to go out and forage is a camera for future identification, a knife, a basket, and ideally a field guide.
There's 2 times that you can harvest wild garlic. One is in the spring and you just get the leaves that are coming up and you can make pestos with them. But in the fall, it's a little bit different. You want to wait until after the flower is completely done. And it's about education, right? So what you want to do is understand that this is a species at risk. Still enjoy it, but harvest ethically. Do your part in helping it propagate itself. And here's one that's a little bit larger, and you can see here a couple of them, right? Don't take the seeds. What you want to do, you want to pinch the seeds off, so you put them back into the soil. Take your knife. You don't want to dig underneath. You just want to clear some of the soil from around it. And you're only taking 1 or 2 if, depending on the size of the whorl. You can actually clip it off right at the root stem. And I just clip off that. They're much bigger at this time of year. So you take the biggest bulbs of the whorl again. I have permission to harvest on over 2,000 acres. And this is the only spot that there is any wild garlic in any number.
This is the only spot that you find wild garlic?
Yeah.
And that's largely due to over-harvesting, you think?
Largely due to over-harvesting, incorrect harvesting. This plant is not like planting a garlic bulb in our garden and having garlic the next year. This is a 7-year process and it needs to be respected. It's tending to your forest garden. It's how you would tend your garden at home. You know, you want things to do really well. It's tending to the forest garden in a way that you would see it long after I'm gone, that this would actually be a very strong impact in this forest and for other people to enjoy, right?
And taking that a step further and tending to our Mother Earth.
Yes, it is basically the one thing in my life that helps me reboot. And I love it. I'll never stop doing it. And that's all year round. So you'll see me in the forest in December and a heavy snow in January, up to my knees in mud in March and April, covered in tick spray and mosquitoes coming at me from all different directions. I'll still do it.
Successful day in the woods. Successful day of foraging.
So now that we've collected all of these amazing mushrooms and wild herbs, we're going to be learning about how to actually use them in the kitchen. Everything from your main course to your dessert.
Okay, so yesterday we collected all of these amazing mushrooms, but today now Ruthie is going to be showing us how to actually use these ingredients and turn them into some beautiful dishes.
We have 3 different profiles here. This was collected earlier. It's a dried lobster mushroom. This is very crab meat tasting and very smoky. To me, this smells like lobster in butter. This here is lion's mane, so this is the dried version of what we collected. You can dry it using parchment paper and a cookie sheet to just pull it apart into smaller pieces and put it in the sun.
Okay.
And this is maitake, so it looks like a little flower bud. And it's one of my favorite fall mushrooms because it has a really deep, beefy flavor to it. So each one of these can be made in a flour, but today we're actually going to put this in a soup.
Okay, so kind of a lobster bisque vibe is what we're going to be going with for course 1, our little appetizer.
The recipe is calling for a broth. So the best way to actually produce a broth on the spot is to rehydrate mushrooms.
You're mixing together some liquids,
Yes.
ideally wine, a little bit of cider. I think that's a nice touch, and it's all local too. These are Canadian wines.
This is on tap.
Canadian water.
Yeah.
So we're gonna mix all that together in here.
Yes.
Okay,
All
so
right.
can I just go for it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
They're gonna float to the top. We're gonna push them down with our fingers as we add more liquid.
A little bit of cider.
A little bit of cider.
Ooh, smells nice already.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay, perfect.
And last but not least, a little bit of salt to help things dry out.
All right, so we're gonna let this sit for an hour approximately, right?
Yes.
To give the mushrooms an opportunity to really absorb as much of that liquid as possible.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna come back to this. Okay, so our mushrooms have just finished their 1-hour soaking bath. We've chopped up a red pepper. We're gonna add a little bit of chopped carrot, and we're also going to start chopping up the actual mushrooms.
So right now what I'm doing is adding a huge hunk of vegetable ghee. I'm gonna turn on the element. Just bring it to a point where the ghee is melted and everything is getting nice and brown. This will draw out the flavors and really accentuate the taste of the soup. So at this point, I'm going to add a little bit of paprika and a little bit of basil for sweetness. So I'm gonna pull this off and put a pot here that we're gonna cook the bisque in. Now we have our mushroom broth, which I'm going to pour in. And we bring it up to a nice rolling boil. Once it's melded together for a little, We'll go ahead and puree this, and we're almost ready. All right, here it is.
Oh my God, look at the color.
That looks fantastic.
Some little pan-fried pieces of lion's mane on top. Ooh.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Oh my gosh.
I'm excited. I'm so excited.
Let's see how we did.
Yes. Oh my God. Oh, that's really good.
Oh,
This
God.
is so delicious. This is so delicious.
That is so cozy tasting and just, that's a heavy meal. Mm-hmm. And there's no dairy in this. There's no heavy cream. We used all vegan substitutes and you would never know the difference.
No, not at all. This is delicious.
What a beautiful mushroom lion's mane based bisque. Okay, so we've made the bisque and now we are going to work on course number 2. And I'm really excited about this course because I'm a huge fan of tacos. So we decided that we're going to make 2 different types of tacos, a seafood style taco and a chicken taco. We will be using the lion's mane mushroom for our seafood option.
Yes.
And then we are going to be working with the chicken of the woods mushroom, such a gorgeous, gorgeous mushroom. And it has its name, chicken of the woods, because it has very much a chicken flavor profile, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, just look at it. It looks like cooked chicken breast.
It does. This, even just looking at it, I'm like, this looks like chicken. It feels like cooked
yeah.
chicken, yeah.
Stick to the idea that this is lobster, so cook it like it's lobster.
Okay.
This is chicken, so cook it like it's chicken.
Okay, amazing. That makes it easy. I'm gonna give this a try myself.
It's so easy to cut through. Like, I know I'm kind of doing a little bit of a saw, but when you look at it like this,
Wow.
yeah, like you can cut this and make like mushroom burgers.
So we'll slice these up. We're gonna get them battered. We're gonna show you guys how to make the batter next.
We're using gluten-free flour, a coconut flour, because that helps to bind everything. A little bit of extra xanthan gum because we are deep frying. And what binds everything for plant-based batter is a banana. You can squish up the banana if you want, and I'll measure out the flour.
Okay, on it. I can definitely handle this. Banana squishing is one of my actual
Special talents.
special talents. So just squish it up, all right?
That's awesome. It smells so good. I love banana. And now this is the liquid. You want to be able to dip the chicken into it. All right, there we go. We're gonna dip the chicken of the woods in a little bit of flour so everything sticks to it.
Okay.
And then you do a dip. You're gonna get real nice and messy here, but that's okay. And from here, you wanna put it right in the frying pan.
Okay, yum.
This is the fresh lion's mane. We're going to give it a quick sear in the frying pan. So once I get all of the chicken fritters in, with the oil being a nice, good temperature, I will be turning the oil down.
So the oil is frying the actual batter that we made, and it's also cooking the mushroom inside.
Right. So we just finished frying the chicken of the woods fritters. So I was thinking we would start making the sauce that goes on the tacos with both of them.
What are some of the ingredients that we're gonna be using for the sauce?
What we're using is the wild garlic that we harvested yesterday, and we're including some locally grown hot peppers. These are both the same varietal. And I'm going to cut them in half and pull out the seeds.
So you're slicing lengthwise, so nice long skinny slivers.
That's it. Just a little bit of oil, a little bit of salt and pepper, and we have it in ghee. We're just gonna bring it up to a nice hot temperature so it's bubbling and it's cooking and melding together. I'm adding vinegar to bring the temperature of the ingredients in the pan down. And also what this does is it picks up all of the little bits in the pan that have cooked on. We want to keep the temperature up high still to burn off that sharpness in the vinegar. And that's basically it. Now we let this cool and we add it to the yogurt with a little bit of lemon juice.
So now we're going to be making a mixed greens slaw for the tacos, is that right?
Yes. So we have pea shoots here, which are sweet and crunchy, and then we also have radish greens, microgreens. So I'm just gonna rip those apart because you want them easy to eat. And then we just add a little bit of oil, glug, 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 little drizzle, and a little bit more wild garlic fresh. And make sure you eat this with loved ones around because they won't care how garlicky your breath is.
That's amazing.
Do you want to put some maple syrup in, just a splash? And of course, we'll put, again, a little bit of salt and pepper because we're seasoning. So we make sure everything's nicely mixed. And that's it.
So this is what we're going to start building our
Tacos with. So here is the finished yogurt sauce with the wild garlic and the hot peppers. So we're just gonna put that as the base. That's the glue that holds everything together.
Yum, yum. All vegan as well.
Okay, so you did the chicken fritter one.
Ooh,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
I did.
do the lobster one.
Look at these tacos. They're so cute.
This is amazing.
I love them. Okay.
What? Cheers.
Wow, that actually tastes like chicken.
I know, isn't that
My brain
crazy?
is so confused. Oh my gosh, all this is doing is making me look that much more forward to our final and third course of dessert.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm really excited about this course because it's my personal favorite course, being dessert. So we are making a dessert as our third course with some wild indigenous plant species. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm so excited. Everything already smells so good and just so gorgeous. This wild lavender. What is this again?
That's wild bergamot.
So pretty.
So that's been dried. This has been dried as well. And then we also have dried sweetgrass.
Okay, so we are actually going to be making a mousse. Is that right?
Chocolate mousse.
Okay, we're making a chocolate mousse. And what is the step one that we're going to be working with here?
We are taking the dairy-free milk and we are infusing it with flavors before we add it into the melted chocolate. So we're gonna add these different herbs in here and bring the cashew milk up to a certain temperature, not boiling, just below.
Okay.
And then let it simmer. So it's like infusing like tea. While we're infusing the milk with the sweet herbs, instead of putting the lid on top, I'm gonna use what's called a double boiler to melt the chocolate. So a bowl on top of the hot liquid will ensure that the chocolate does not burn in the bottom. There we go. And you can see already that it's starting to melt.
So why don't we talk a little bit firstly about this aquafaba, which direct translation is water bean.
Yeah, water beans.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is an egg white replacement. And there are several plants out there that can do this, and most famously, people know of chickpea water. People are just learning now that you can make it with what's considered a weed called broadleaf planting.
Okay, so a can of chickpeas, that water that's in the bottom of the can, kind of soaking in those chickpeas, that's aquafaba. We've gone ahead and made our own, which is totally awesome. But what we're going to do is we're going to strain these seeds out of the mixture.
It almost looks like egg white now. It's got that same consistency as egg white. There we go. All right, now we just wait for the magic to happen. Now we have the aquafaba to a beautiful point of foaminess. We're gonna start adding the sugar, the cream of tartar, and the salt.
Okay, so we've got the aquafaba. We've got the aquafaba whipped nene, as some call it. Professionals call it the whipped meringue.
Meringue, yes.
I might call it the whipped nene. I'm not a professional though.
So we're gonna be really delicate about folding it in, and the chocolate has already been infused with
The lavender. The lavender, sweetgrass, that cashew milk has already been mixed in with this chocolate.
All right, I think we're pretty much ready to put it in the cup.
Ooh, I'm excited.
I brought cocoa nibs here so we could actually have a little texture.
I love cocoa nibs. Do we garnish with a mushroom? I don't know.
But we have actually some wild garnish here. So some Burberries.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, these are beautiful. They have a tart tang taste like a cranberry. I like to dress up stuff like this with a little bit of flower petals.
They're fun to decorate.
Right?
Okay.
Look at that. Oh, wow.
A spoonful.
Cheers. This is like the lavender and the bergamot comes through so beautifully.
The lavender in that is so distinctive and unique. Oh, just amazing. Thank you so much, Ruthie.
You're welcome.
This was just an incredible step-by-step process through 3 amazing meals. You taught us how to smell wilder, see wilder, taste wilder. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I loved it.
Now let's eat the rest of this mousse.
Yeah, we can't let any of this go to waste, that's for sure.